I just had the worst trip of my life. And it all started where every great adventure starts, a rental car agency. Now, for some background, my company sends people to hospitals to troubleshoot issues and get their systems up and running and everything. And I'm supposed to go to a hospital in Chicago to help out, which is about 2 hours away from here. So I get to the rental car place and give my information, and the guy there seems a little bit off. Like, you might think he's kind of new, but it's not totally obvious that he is. Anyway, he pulls up with my car and mentions that it's an electric car. I've never driven an electric car in my life, but I was interested in trying it out. I was thought, like, yeah, that's cool. He parked the car in an area that was kind of blocking traffic, so I kind of had to just get in and start going. In my first couple minutes, I'm checking out the settings, getting the GPS set up, and I noticed that the car only has 40% battery remaining. Great. That pissed me off a little bit because, I'm thinking, oh, it should be a full charge if I'm getting it from a rental car agency, but whatever. It's like, yeah, classic rental car service. Okay, I'll just deal with it along the way. I mean, I figured I would have to charge it anyway, because I don't know if it would last the full 2 hour whatever drive. So I thought it would be fine. It was not fine. I drove for about 40 minutes before I realized that I was not going to make it to Chicago. I needed to find a charging station fast. The thing that I did not know as a new electric car driver is that there are different levels of charging stations. And in rural Wisconsin, there are no fast superchargers. Or at least not the ones that I could find. So I just drove to the nearest charger at a grocery store. Once I figured out how to get the charger working, I checked to see how long it would take to get a full charge, and it said 7:30, and I was like, okay, that's not too bad. It was currently like 6:30, maybe? Yeah, I take a closer look. 7:30 a.m. Yeah, I'm not gonna be there overnight, so yeah, I don't know what to do. It was charging at 12 miles an hour, and I had more than 80 miles to go to my destination. At this point, I knew I was in trouble because I had to work at the hospital starting at 5 a.m. the next morning. All of the rental agencies were closed at this point. I weighed my options and decided the best course of action was to just spend a couple of hours waiting to charge because there was a medium speed charger about 60 miles away. So I was going to try to make it to that one. I spend my time going around to the grocery store, buying snacks, just trying to waste time. I walk around to places nearby, and then I see it. In a world where all seems lost, there is one place that would raise all American spirits. A place that is nothing short of a culinary amusement park. A place where burgers aren't just a meal, they're a starring attraction. A beacon of hope on a bleak landscape. Red Robin. I sat down at my table for one and order a burger and a big ol' milkshake because I deserved it. I'm not sure if it was the fact that I'm a young looking guy sitting by myself or if I was just giving off vibes that I had something terrible happen to me, but the waiter seemed extra nice and came to check on me often. After my delightful meal, I waited for enough charge to drive, and then I was off. I left this grocery store when my car estimated that I was going to get to my next charging station with about 5% remaining just to be safe. And when I was a good chunk in driving, I noticed that the estimation was no longer accurate, and I would not be able to make it to that charger. So I was like, what the heck? I started frantically turning off anything that looked like it was using power. It was almost like I was playing Five Nights at Freddy's and I was trying to conserve all my power so I can close the doors on the animatronics. But there were no animatronics here. The only enemy here was time. Anything that had a light on had to go. The heater, the defroster, my phone charger. And whatever I did seemed to work, and it looked like I was going to make it to that faster charger anyway. Oh, but it wouldn't be a story if it ended there. I pulled up to the charger that happened to be at a Harley-Davidson lot. and I saw this. At this point, I'm like, what do I do? I have like 3% battery left, and my plan just went utterly up in flames. I look for any nearby chargers, and there's one that I can get to with 1% remaining. It's a Honda dealership, and you know how they have like one car on display usually? That's like a special car or whatever. Well, the charger was hooked up to that. Luckily, there were 2 connectors on it, so I parked near the car, kind of climbed up my way to the display, and unhooked that thing and connected my car. I did not care at this point. I was like, literally I do this or I'm stranded in the middle of nowhere at 10 p.m. Well, after a very interesting 2 hours, I finally make it to my hotel with about 4% at midnight. Yeah, fun night. There's no chargers there, of course. But I'm too tired to care after wasting 8 hours of my life. But the fun doesn't stop there. I have to wake up at 4 a.m. for my shift at the hospital. So in the blink of an eye, I am up and out, ready to drive to work. Except the battery isn't what I remember it to be. See, cold and batteries don't really mix. Overnight, my battery went down to 2%. So I basically only have enough juice to make it to the hospital. And I'm praying that there's something at the hospital for me. When I get there, the parking garage is empty, because who would be there at 5 a.m.? Only me. I make the loop around the first floor, and in the corner is my knight in shining armor. Finally, something worked out. There was a charger. So I plug in, rush to start my day, my 9-hour day at the hospital, and when I finish my shift, my car's not charged. I fiddle with the charger for like 15 minutes trying to get to work, and to no avail. While I'm out there, the CEO of the hospital comes out and he conveniently has an electric car also parked right next to me, and his charger is plugged in. And I ask him, hey, how do you get this charger to work? And he was like, I was gonna ask you the same thing. So we got like 2 people who don't know how to charge their electric cars. I'm like, what is happening? Now my car is actually 0%. I'm forced to call the roadside assistant at this point to get my car towed and to get a replacement rental car. The lady I spoke to on the phone really kind of sounded like AI. Like she was clearly reading off a script, and I don't even know if she was understanding what I was saying. She said a tow truck would be there soon, and that my replacement car would be at the Chicago airport, which was an hour away. I was like, alright, whatever, I'll take anything I got. It was all kind of rushed, and I got no confirmation email or text message or anything, so I was just waiting. After about an hour, I see a tow truck coming down the street. I'm like, okay, let's go. Except, it's not coming for me. I get out of my car and see there's a guy right across the street, like waving his arms down, waving the tow truck down. It's for this other guy. Or I don't know. What are the odds that there are 2 people within like 20 feet from each other that have 2 broken ass cars, huh? Coincidence or not, I kind of think this guy stole my tow truck. Not gonna lie. Because I waited 2 more hours and nothing came. So I called roadside assistance again, and I was like, hey, where's my tow truck at? And they're like, oh, how long have you been waiting? And I'm like 3 hours at this point. Oh yeah, we'll send a tow truck down right away. Then it showed up in like 30 minutes. The guy loaded up my car and drove away. It was actually like really easy. This was like the smoothest part of the story right now. Now I'm without a car, and I have to get to the Chicago airport, which is not near me. Luckily, I have a coworker that was working a later shift, so I begged them to take me to the airport. They agreed on the condition that I would go out to dinner with them, which I gladly accepted. Honestly, after this point, it was kind of smooth sailing. Well, as pleasant as waking up at 4 a.m. every day for the next like 2 or 3 days is, and working in a chaotic hospital environment is. But anyway, this trip was not the most fun, but it's certainly an experience that I will always remember.